Anybody else showing up? I see somebody's connecting. And we're up to 19. And somebody else has reviewed their analytics. I didn't ask if you know how to understand any of it, just that you've been there. That's part of the learning curve, is just going there. It's definitely an overwhelming bunch of information, but, and just like Teresa says, yeah, Teresa says, yes, I've been, but I'm totally clueless. It's a lot of information. I want to show you just some basics. You can spend whatever time that you want getting into the details, but I want to show you some basic information. So we've started the recording, and I'm still getting a few more people showing up, so I'll stop dragging my feet as much. I'm Thomas Garrison, SEO Tom. You can find the videos that we have had over the many months, actually the last couple of years. Find most of them in YouTube at SEO-Tom. And if you're looking for Arthur today, he is out of town, so you won't see him, my co-host. So I'm on my own. Bear with me while I watch this chat and try to teach you something at the same time. We're going to be juggling today. The first thing that I'd like to know is how many people actually know how to get to analytics. It's not difficult. 3, 4, 5. Anybody else? Okay, so then that's the first thing that we'll do, and it is simple. Let me share my screen with you. And it doesn't make any difference what page you start from. If you're like most people, you log into Google and you stay logged in. So as long as you're logged in, this is the easiest way to do it. Just type in the word analytics. Without two logs, though. And when you get to the search in Google, you see Google Analytics. That's what you want. When you click on Google Analytics, that's going to take you to your analytics. Does that make sense? It's going to take you into your account. I have selected a particular company that I work with. So that's why it's showing this SBT Spanish, but you can see I have several. Even Kevin's in here, but Kevin would be mad if I showed you his.
Show mine.
So, again, it's easy to get to analytics. Search analytics. The first link is Google Analytics. Click on that, and you're there. Now, I've got another one already open, but that's okay. I'm going to start here from scratch. You come to the home page usually as the first spot, first thing that you're going to see. You can glean a bit of information, but this is really overall for the whole site. It's not telling you anything about specific pages, just that you've got some organic searches, direct searches, referrals. And I'll say that differently. Organic search would be somebody who comes through a search engine, whether it's Google or not, doesn't make any difference. It's still an organic search. And then a direct means they came from a link someplace, or they had a bookmark or something, or they typed it in because they knew the URL for that website. And that is called a direct link. Referral would be like from, similar to just having a link, but you're coming from maybe your Facebook page, or you have something else, social media. You're coming from some social media that you have somewhere. And let me get rid of a couple of these bars here. Now, you don't have to know all the stuff that I'm telling you, because what you're really looking for is the reports. That's the second button right below home on the far left. Got that? Reports are what you're trying to find. You can, again, take a gander at all this information and still get kind of confused, because it's still overall about the whole site. So there's a couple of different places that you are going to want to drill down into information. One is in this acquisition. and you can go to the overview, and you have a better idea of what's going on in the site, but you're still not looking at specific pages. And without going into a bunch of other stuff, I want to get you into, how do I find the pages? So under engagement, pages and screens, this is where you're going to see each of your pages. So however many pages that you have in your site, this is going to tell you how many people go to the page, how long they spend on the page, the total number of users to the page. So this is all of your basic information. Something that you really want to get used to is look at the average engagement time on the page. That is going to tell you how long do people spend on any particular page. This / in the number 1 position, that means it's your home page. And then they're listed in the order of most popular. So however much traffic is going to the site, they get the highest number or the lowest number, however you want to look at it. They're in the highest position. So the number 1 is the home page, because most people send people to the home page of their site. It's not often that they do it otherwise. So you're going to get more traffic there. And if somebody says, well, here's the name of a business, and they type in the name of your business, yes, they're going to find a home page. That's not how people usually search the search engines to find what you do. Somebody wanted to record, that's fine. The idea is that you want to look at these pages. One of the main reasons that you want to look at them is because you're trying to figure out, is there a lot of traffic to a page that I'm considering changing something on the page? Before you touch the content, if you have had the site up for a while, you want to make sure that you're looking at what pages have been viewed and how much, so that you can tell, I don't know, I've got a lot of traffic going to that page. Do I want to change anything? Because you could lose the position in the organic search. So we're looking at maybe getting pushed down from your position if you don't change correctly what you needed to. Now, somebody's asking in the chat, how do we know if any of these traffic numbers are from bots? That's a good question. Now, generally speaking, Google's not picking up bot information. They're usually picking up just information from searches in the search engines, direct links to the site. There are ways that you can get into your website statistics, but it has nothing to do with analytics. And you can find out which are bots and which are not. Okay, so quickly define organic versus direct search results. That's simple. Organic search is somebody has literally typed in a keyword term to find a business, to find a page that they want information from. So that's an organic search. They typed it into the search engine. They found the link that they think is the right one. They click on that. That's a organic search. Direct is, like I was saying before, they have already been to the site, or they've got somebody who sent them a link to the site or to whichever page that it was, or they have saved it as far as a bookmark. So there are several reasons that you get that direct. So I can say differently. Organic means they typed it into the search engine and found a link to your page, to your site. Direct means they have come some other method. So they didn't use a search engine. How'd I do, Mitch? Is that short enough? Okay, so
Can I
that
ask
takes
a very
care.
quick follow-up?
Quick follow-up. Who is that?
Mitch.
Oh, Mitch. Yeah, go ahead.
So is one, like if you're paying for it, you want to have the organic is basically you're not paying for it, whereas the direct is more like PPC, and that's where you really get the big charge, right? So you want to get your organic search.
You do want the organic search. The organic searches are telling you that you've got at least a page, if not maybe several, that are doing okay in the search engines, or they're doing great. In this particular instance, you can say, well, let's see. In the overall, you've got 64 and 41 for this particular site. So you know the lines show that it's quite a bit different, but 64 to 41% people, not a whole lot of difference. So this particular site gets about 50-50. It's not quite 50-50, but you can get the idea. And you're getting a lot of organic, but the idea is that when you do see a lot of organic searches, then yes, that's a good thing. And you can tell, okay, my pages are doing fairly good. That's the time to go and look, do your own search. I got to stop for a second. Doing your own search for your own pages is not simple. You're already logged into Google. That's one bad thing. You've probably already given Google where you live, because they constantly beat you up saying, can we have your can we get your area, or whatever, not your address, but we want to know your location. Can we take your location? And I always say no, but they'll grab the IP address anyway. But if you've said yes, that skews the search results that you will get for your own website. And if you put your own domain name as the search into the search engine, that means nothing. So if anybody has ever searched for their website, they want to see, oh, what kind of position is my website in? I'll just type in my website name. You can't do that. Nobody else does. You are the owner of the site, but nobody else searches that way because they don't know about your business. They search by keyword terms. That's how they find you. And if the SEO is done well enough on the page, then you rise up to the top where they could actually find you in the search results. If you have bad SEO, then you're several pages back, or today's list, you're going to scroll for a long way before you find your site. Further down that list you are, then less chance that you have of people actually coming as a organic search. Questions about that much so far? Now, I know a lot of you haven't been to the analytics, so I don't want to get too deep into them.
Again, just in terms of paying for it, right? The organic search you don't pay for.
Correct.
Whereas the direct search
No.
is coming from Facebook ads, Google ads, and you're
No.
paying.
Direct is coming from, it can be one of those ads. That doesn't mean it is. Now, if you're doing an AdWords campaign, you're going to have different information. I won't get into that today, but
Okay.
that information is going to be in a different area of your analytics, so that you will be able to see what is going on with just my AdWord campaign.
Okay.
And you will even get some of that stuff in your where you set up the campaign. So
Thanks.
the ads are not necessarily a direct link. So take that away. If people are coming to your site as a direct, if you see your directs are really high, that means that they have saved a link to your site. That's a good thing. It could be from a bookmark. There's nothing wrong with direct links. It's just that when we see direct, we're trying to go, yeah, but I want to know how they came. I want to know how they got there.
Is it from a backlink? Is that
A direct link can be from anything except an organic search. So it's anything not searched in the search engine. So they figured out how to get to your site.
Okay,
However,
got it,
The
yeah.
organic search would be if I like window cleaning services, right? And then your name, you would pop up, right?
the organic search, if you sell window cleaning services and you did your job with SEO and you're at the top and somebody searched window cleaning services and they saw a page to your site, they clicked on it, that's an organic link, an organic search.
Terms are confusing. It's kind of counterintuitive.
Kind of. The direct just means, yeah, I'm not really sure how they got there.
Right, however they got there, right?
Yeah, but you can drill down and get a pretty good idea of how they got there. You can, once you start getting into, because that's something that I didn't want to get into, because there's so many new people, and I know a lot of people are really confused about analytics in the first place. If I start getting into all that, you end up getting so much information that you're missing what I'm trying to get you to see. I want you to see that if you're considering changing something on any one of your pages, look at your analytics first. How much traffic do you get on the page you're considering? If you're getting a lot and the people are spending a lot of time on that page, you need to be careful of what you change on that page. You certainly don't want to reverse it and say, okay, well, I've got all this great organic traffic, or even could be direct. You've got all this traffic to this page and you make a change and suddenly you've got next to no traffic. That would be a bad thing for you as far as that one page. If you've changed something and you're not sure if you're changing it correctly, if I were you, I would take a screenshot of the page before you've made a change. That way you can put it back exactly the way that it was. And then try something different. And as anybody who's been to my meetings more than a couple of times, you hear me say all the time, it's SEO is an experiment. There is no do this and this happens. Then you go to the next step and then this happens. And you do go to the next step and then you're done. There isn't that kind of thing. There are things that you need to do, but it doesn't, as far as SEO, there isn't anything that you follow these steps and you have these results. Clicked on analytics for my business, but there is no data at all. Ah, okay. So that's for, let's see if I can see here in the list of people here. Arceli. Maybe you're on page 2 or something, if I pronounced that correctly. Oh, there you go. Can I get you to unmute, Arceli? Am I pronouncing that correctly?
Yes, Arceli, that's correct.
Okay. So when you get to, let's go back over here to the home. This is what you will see when you get to your home.
Yeah, I have 0 showing up across the board.
Okay, is there anything up at the top that says, you know, there's a warning or anything? Can you see
it
where my
says-
mouse is?
Hold on. So there is a message. This property will start processing data starting July 1.
Yeah.
Continue measuring website traffic, create a new Google Analytics 4 property.
Yes. Okay, so I'm going to combine this meeting about looking at basic analytics. In this instance, you need the GA4 code. If you have or are using the UA code, then you will get that warning up at the top. And I believe it's July 1 that you will no longer be able to use that. Which means that if you're using the UA code, which you've been using for years in your Google Analytics, that needs to go away and switch it. So the code in your page is the GA4. That's the new stuff. As of, but like I say, I believe it's July 1, Google will no longer use or have available the UA. which is the old one. It's just going to be gone. And if you don't make the switch manually, they'll do it for you. And that may mean that you don't have things set up correctly and you'll get another warning saying it's not set up. You got to go do that.
How hard is it to switch over?
I'll show you.
Oh, okay. Great. Thank you.
Uh,
I know there's other, topics here.
well,
I had the same question.
there's a lot of different platforms out there, and even if you all use WordPress, chances are that you use the same thing to put in your analytics code. That's pretty rare. I would bet for as many people as there are in our group today, there's that many different ways that you guys have put in your code for analytics. So I can't tell you where to put it because it depends on what you have installed for your analytics, but I can tell you how to get the code from Google. So you ready for that part? And then I'll go to the chat. First, you're on this home page. Just go straight down to the gear that says admin. Click on that button. You have all these other things that come up and you go, I have no idea. Just look at data streams. Data streams. You will see the account information for whatever that you're viewing. This will be yours, not SPT Spanish. So whatever your information, whatever your website name is, it's going to show it here. Click on that, opens another window. And it tells you all this gobbledygook, and you're going, I have no idea what that means. Ignore it. Go down to view tag instructions at the bottom. When you click on that, you get this window, and you want install manually. There's your new code. Copy that code. You give it to your developer, or you can do it yourself. However you've been doing your Google Analytics, whoever has put it in there. This code that I'm showing you right here is the newer code for GA4. That's what needs to go in there instead of whatever code that you have in your site. Now, once you do that, this was a long way around, but once you get that in there properly, then your analytics are going to show you your information. And generally speaking, if you get it in there now, you'll still be able to go back and see what the analytics were for previous, last month or the last couple of months, whatever it was. So if you have no analytics now, change the code, refresh everything, and you'll start to get information. Does that sound right, Arceli? I think that should take care of that.
How did you find out how to do all this?
What's that?
How did you find out how to do all this?
Well, after 25 years, you figure stuff out.
I got a question. What if you have your next to your business line, it has a dash GA4? Does that mean that has been changed or no?
If in the code, and you should be able to see, I'm going to move this little box out of the way.
Because in the stream name where it says the name of my business has dash GA4. So
Yeah,
I can find the code, but I just need to know where to change it for it to update itself.
Okay, so now you're asking a question. In my particular site, I need to know, where do I put that code?
Yes.
That's where I started that long dissertation about the fact that I know everybody does it differently.
Mm-hmm.
I know where it goes. If I was doing it manually, I can't tell you what you're using. Do you know, have you got a WordPress site?
I do.
Okay.
Yep.
So are you using, well, I don't know. There's so many of them I could go over. Do you know what you're using?
Well, for my WordPress in my site, I have the G Site Kit, so I can see my analytics there as well. But I can also go into Google Analytics and see it as well. But I know that the change is coming for July 1st. I'm just not sure how to process the change.
I'm trying to think, I'm trying to remember the, SiteKit to see if, I can't remember if SiteKit allows you to put that in there, but I believe that it does. No. SiteKit doesn't have that.
Okay,
But you should have, oh, it does, supposed to have your analytics. So in your SiteKit,
which is on.
in the settings, SiteKit settings,
Like it's,
yeah, you should find it there and you'd be able to get your analytics code. And you should see the old code in, if you're in the right spot, you get the right spot in the kit, you'll see, here's the old code and you'll see that it says UA in there.
okay, I just need to find the settings and I can, I'll find
Yeah,
them.
you'll
'Cause
find the plugin, you'll see the settings right there next to the plugin and then go through there.
Okay, I appreciate that. Thank you.
You're welcome. You've seen analytics data on the platform that my website is on. Generally speaking, you have, I'll call it a rendition of these analytics. In other words, it's not actually showing you Google, well, and it depends again on the plugin. Is it showing you the basics? Or is it actually showing you what Google has? And you can use stuff in your WordPress site. And I've seen a lot of people who do that because they're just getting some basic information. But if you really want to drill down, going to Google Analytics is going to give you more information than you will from something in your site. And I'm going to stop that one for just a second because more plugins in WordPress means slower speeds. So we know that you can get to your analytics very easily by going to Google. I would recommend that you don't use a plugin to get those analytics because every plugin that you add to WordPress slows it down that much more. And the analytics is a lot of information. So I would recommend that you go to Google and get your analytics as opposed to seeing it in your site. It's handy, but with WordPress, you're always looking at a speed issue.
Thank you.
Whoever's got something that they're checking their analytics inside their website, I'd say it's fine, you can do that, but it's slowing your site down. Okay. Any other questions? Because I'm sure at this point, you guys all have lots of questions. If you've never been there, or if you haven't, or you're trying to figure out how, let's go back over here to engagement, pages and screens. This is really where I'm saying I'd like to see you get used to using and going here. I think a question that you should also be asking yourselves is, what's a good time? What's a good amount of time for people to spend on my page? And Christopher, you missed the whole thing. Hang on just a second. If you've got 25 seconds is okay, but it's not great. If you've got close to a minute or well over a minute as your average time, that's really good. And of course, if they're spending 2 or 3 minutes on the pages, I need to have you on call so I can have you write my content, because that's good content. If people are taking 2 or 3 minutes to read that page, that's great. The longer they stay on the page, the better you made that page. The shorter they are on the page, you've got to think about what do I do wrong so I can hold them on the page. You want to engage the people coming. If they're engaged, they're going to be there for a couple of minutes. Now, you can see this particular website, the longest is 42 seconds, 44 seconds. Well, that's close to a minute. But you have to think, look at this particular site, and it is about learning Spanish. So how long do you need to be on any particular page to know whether this is the right spot? This is the right company where I can learn Spanish. I'd say a minute and a half is pretty good content. So that's fair content on this page. I wouldn't say it's great. So look at the time on the page and think about what you do. What is the page? How much time is on the page? Is it a page where they are just getting a quick view of some product that you have? Then it would be expected they're not going to spend a lot of time. But if it's information that you feel is very good about your site, maybe you're a roofer and you want people to know how good you are, then they're going to read about your company, why they should use you compared to the competition. So they're going to spend time on that page. Get the people to spend time on the page if it's a page where you really want them to know something. So expect about a minute or longer to read that information. Mitch, you had a question.
Yeah, hi, Vic. So these, the page path and spree, so these searches, are these organic or are they direct? Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7?
Well, we can drill down into them, but what are you getting to? You're trying to see if they're coming, and I could see most of the people, most of the traffic comes to his homepage.
So it's direct?
Not necessarily. I think that if we go back over here to the acquisition, we can see he's got quite a bit of organic.
And again, you know, my understanding, organic being not, you don't have to pay for organic.
So that's true. And for clarification, you would love to have most of your traffic organic, because that says they're coming from the search engine. So that means you've done your job for at least one page, because you've got a tremendous amount of traffic coming to that one page.
What was your answer about the bots? I missed that. How do we know these are not all bots?
The bots, Google, from my experience, doesn't usually count the bots. You can, there are other methods in cPanel. There are things where you can look and see if it's just bots.
Or
but-
rogue sites or something, you know, like Chinese or.
Yeah, well, bots pretty well covers everything. And I believe that the Google Analytics are going to show you everything but the bots.
Okay,
There are traffic counters that you can use that are attached to most sites that have a cPanel, and you can get into those things, and it will show you, you know, break it down to an IP address. So that's one person, what they did, and bots. It shows you this was Google, this was Bing, this was DuckDuckGo. So you'll have all that information. Let's get a little over where I wanted to take anybody today, though.
cPanel, is that, what is cPanel? Is that,
cPanel is where you control your website. You can get into the files, you can get into things that you shouldn't get into unless you know what you're doing.
right,
You can move things around. cPanel is like you're controlling all the files and a database on your site through the cPanel. It allows you to get in and do technical things.
you gotta know what you're doing.
Pardon?
You gotta know what you're doing.
Yes, that's true. Although there are some things that you can do if you're shown this is simple, that's simple, that you can get in and mess with these few things. Just
Okay.
don't get into everything. Don't start changing things. Usually when I try to first instruct somebody on cPanel, I'll say, just log in first. Go in and start clicking around. Don't change anything. So if you click on something, just don't save it. Just go in, click through the stuff and get accustomed to where everything is. Then ask questions about it, or you can do the research because the cPanel's got a tremendous amount of information all over the net about any part of it. I would bet if you're on GoDaddy, it's a 50-50 chance whether they gave you a cPanel or not. Companies like Green Geeks and A2, 100% of people have the cPanel, so you have complete control of your site. Others, it's like, nope, we don't want them to have control. We want them to come to us for everything. And that's usually the quote unquote cheap sites. Hosting companies, I should say. Christopher, I want to get back to yours, and I'm not sure when you joined, but do you have, can you come online, Christopher? It'd be quicker. I can see you in the list here. Raise your hand. There's Christopher. Okay. Christopher, did you miss the part about setting up GA4?
No, I've had Google Analytics before, but I don't, it's saying that I have to complete the setup.
Okay, so at the top of your analytics, you see a message that says you need to complete the setup.
Yes,
And you're saying that you had analytics before. When you first log into your analytics account, we'll go back over
Yes.
here to the home. Do you see anything that alludes to the GA4 or anything in particular? What do you see up here in the top left?
let me look at it. Well, it's actually pretty blank right now. I don't understand it.
Well, if you don't have any analytics, then everything below this top bar is probably blank.
Yes, it is.
And that means that it's not set up correctly. So we need to drill back and see where you are with the site. And just like with this particular site, you can see here's the name and a number, but this one, which does not have the star next to it, clearly says UA, and it gives the number.
Okay.
So this star is showing this is the one, this is the code that's being used. Do you see anything like that in yours?
No, I did when I first started, when I was on the home. I don't know what's happening. Right now it's all blank, but I do get reports from my my IT guy sends me a monthly report. I can't look at it though.
All right, so if you've got an IT guy, girl, whoever, you've got
Yes.
somebody who's working on your site, you need to tell them to update your site with the GA4 analytics code.
Okay.
Do they have access to?
Yes, they have access.
They have
Mhm.
access to your analytics account?
Yes.
I don't recommend that, but that's up to you.
I understand that.
You can actually provide access for anybody to read your analytics if you go through that process. But you've already given them access to yours, so it's kind of the horse is already out of the barn.
I see what you mean. Yeah, I should have just gave them access and not give them.
Yeah, you can send a link to say you can read my analytics, but don't give somebody your analytics access.
Okay.
Even when
Understand.
you send the link to them, it'll ask that you'll have the option of, do you want them to just read? Do you want them to be able to adjust or change? So you'll have those options. And of course, you just send it to them and say, all that person needs is to be able to review. They don't need to change any of my information there. And they should come to you if they need something changed. That way it keeps people from doing something that is going to irritate you. Or
Okay.
cause you problems for that matter. Swellen's asking if it is WordPress managed, do you not get cPanel? You know, GoDaddy is odd. I
Actu-
couldn't tell you because I steer clear of GoDaddy. Generally speaking. if you-
Actually, I was saying that is the way it is because
Oh, it is.
I do use GoDaddy.
Okay,
So if it's a WordPress managed account,
yeah,
which is probably the easiest do-it-yourself they offer, you don't get cPanel. You can get an account where you have cPanel access, but
Yeah.
it's not the WordPress managed or the GoDaddy, they build it
yes.
like Wix.
The build a site, yeah.
Yeah.
That's like we don't talk about them. Not nicely anyway.
No,
and
we wind up fixing that mess a lot.
Yes, and managed, that's another thing to steer clear of. Usually that means that the hosting company is overseeing the site. And the fact they're giving you a cPanel access with the managed tells me that that's, I bet you're paying more than if you went to another hosting company and automatically had cPanel. Like A2.
Yeah,
it just
They
everybody
call
gets-
that ultimate and you do
Right.
pay extra. Yeah,
Yeah.
almost like 150%.
Oh my gosh. So, folks, you're learning something as I'm hearing it too, because I know that most of the hosting companies, they have things set up. So if you want this, then it's this much more. If you want that, then it's that much more than that. And that's why we always try to make sure that people understand that we're only going to recommend two companies, because Arthur and I both know each of them. A2 Hosting and Green Geeks. We know what they do, we know what they don't do, which is very little. They provide, here's the price, you get everything. There's none of this, oh, and if you want the cPanel, you can pay this much more. Oh, if you want to be able to touch your site, you have to pay this much more. But they don't do that. You're completely independent, and those two companies, you call them 24 hours a day, and they will give you the best service you've had. Even if you call it at 3 o'clock in the morning and you're figuring you're going to get somebody offshore, you're not going to do it with A2. And I believe Green Geeks is the same. You're going to get somebody who knows what they're doing and can help you very quickly. Okay, enough those two. Since there are some people who are asking questions, I'm going to do this. I'll go to, you can see that I'm typing in my domain name and cPanel. This is where you control. This is not a platform. This is not WordPress or Joomla or something. This is where you do a lot of technical things with your website. Now, I'll log in here and give you a quick overview, but this will show you how much that you can do with your own website. So you have your email accounts, forwards, anything that you want to do with your email, that's all done here. You have unlimited number of email accounts, unlimited forwards, and you can check to make sure the email addresses are routing properly. Filters, autoresponders, encryption, how much usage of your email. So you got all kinds of stuff for the email. You're on your own there. You can create whatever email accounts that you want. You can create them all day long. A good hosting company doesn't charge you per email account. They might say that, okay, you're limited to 50. How are you going to come up with 50? So you're having one for each member of your, you've got a lot of employees. But you can also go to your file manager. And what does file manager do? Well, once you get into public.html, these are the files and folders for your website. each site's going to be different. WordPress sets it up completely different. This is a Joomla site, so these folders are very different. And then you have individual files. This is called the root. So here's your index. And all these other things, it's like, don't try to understand what it does. If you're just trying to figure out cPanel, don't drill down into this. Just look at it, write down questions if you have them, and then, you know, you can come to me and ask questions if you want, that's fine. But I would not suggest messing with things.
What do you think of Liquid Web? Have you heard of that program?
Yep. A2 and Green Geeks.
Okay. That answered that question.
Yeah, you'll come up with, there are literally thousands of hosting companies. So for Arthur and I to say there are two, and I've been doing this, I started in 1996 before I had my business. And there were just a few hosting companies around then. I even have hosted companies myself. So I know what it takes to host. I know what people have to go through. That's why sometimes I just stop dead in my tracks, go, don't go down that road. You don't want to know that information.
Man,
But when you start looking at hosting companies, it's not who's cheapest.
Right.
It's who is a good hosting company, because you don't want somebody that nickel and dimes you saying, well, the registration this year is going to be this much, and then we're going to raise it. Or a hosting package that is constantly going up, or a hosting package that you get this much for this price, then this much for that.
Right.
Go to a good hosting company. They have everything. If you want, and they will even move your site for free.
You've chewed a lot of dirt, Thomas. As
I
they say.
have tried a lot of hosting companies, and I mean a lot.
1996. Wow.
And when I came across A2, in fact, back in the day, up until when did Brent Oxley sell that? It's been 8 years or so ago. HostGator was top notch. Brent Oxley built that literally in his dorm room and expanded from there, and ended up selling it to EIG, I don't know, for 30-40 million. That's a heck of a jump starting from your dorm room.
That's not bad. That's a couple.
Yeah.
It's not bad.
Yeah. So Green Geek, or excuse me, so
Sorry,
HostGator is
I had a
not
meeting. I am on my way. Oh my gosh.
Green Geeks, or excuse me, not Green Geeks, but HostGator is not someplace that I would recommend now. After Brent sold it, the company just went straight south. And on that note, I'm going to briefly say that if you're looking at a hosting company, you're looking at hardware and support and what's included in a package. And you're going to have a bunch of questions trying to figure out, well, how do I know if it's right? The first thing is knowing that A2 and Green Geeks, I know, have high quality hardware. They also have high quality support, which means that if you ask them, they know what they're talking about. You don't ever get on the phone or have a chat with some yahoo that's going, well, and reading from a screen. You'll be surprised because they actually give you a response to your question as a person, instead of, you can tell that somebody is reading from a screen. Most hosting companies do that. That's a sure sign that bad personnel. And they do that because they're just not paid.
Cloud-based, right?
Well, that can be cloud-based, could be parts of it are, but I would stay away from a cloud-based place. Green Geeks has, you can choose in A2. Do you want to have your site hosted on the servers in Chicago, or do you want to have them over here in this other country? Or, you choose. What servers do you want to use?
I remember the day we used to install the servers under our desks.
Good luck with that. That's not going to happen. You know why?
Why?
Cost you in 2000. It would have cost you over $3,000 a month for the pipe that you must have in order to connect to the internet with your own computer.
You needed a T1. Your own.
Mm. Today, T1 is so slow. It's nothing compared to what you get in broadband.
Yeah.
So the point is, make sure that you are with a good hosting company. And even if Jack, I would say that you're probably going to plan on the second year that you're with Green Geeks or A2, about $20 a month. And then you have everything. The first year, they drop it down to like $6 or $7 a month. So it's a good plan going in, but that's to get you hooked. And I tell you, even once you're hooked, you're going, yeah, but this is well worth it with what they have, what they offer. Too difficult to manage. I've been looking into changing the host. Well, there you go, Geneva. A2 hosting or Green Geeks. And Teresa, you're also with Lanos. Well, I have nothing to say about specific people other than A2 or Green Geeks. Now let's get back over to analytics. I'm going to log out of this thing here. More questions about analytics before we go. I'm sure that not everybody is completely satisfied, but, and Teresa, yes, Green Geeks and A2 hosting. I can send you one. I'll put a couple links in here. Here's a generic one for A2 for everybody. There's A2 hostings, and I know that this is, I don't have a specific link for Green Geeks, but they're just greengeeks.com.
What are we looking at here, Tom?
Beg your pardon?
What are we looking at here in the analytics?
Right here is just the homepage for that, and then your, of course, your reports. What I specifically didn't want to get into a lot of detail in the analytics because it is overwhelming, especially if it's your first time in and you're just trying to figure it out.
What's the difference between Search Console and analytics?
Search Console does more things. That's the easiest way I can put it. There's more statistics about different areas, which is why Google went there. It's not only just showing you the traffic to the site, but now it's taking you into, okay, you want to plan for conversions. You want to do this, you want to do that. It's the best thing that I can say about either analytics or the panel is to the search panel. Go to them, even if you have no idea what they are, and just start clicking through. You will figure out a lot of stuff, and you'll figure it out pretty quick. And those are the things that you're going to use right away, like the acquisition overview in analytics. That's the best place to start. Then you go down to engagement, to go pages and screen, and see what each page is doing. Those two areas are primary. Everything else is, okay, but I want to dig deeper. That's fine. But you've got to start somewhere. And that's what today was all about. I want to make sure that people understand you can get to this here. Now, if anybody has got a problem trying to get their analytics code into their site, get a hold of me after the meeting and let's see if I can help you get that updated. If you have a developer, that's what they should be doing for you. If you don't have a developer, then get in touch with me. Cerise, did you want to say something?
I did. Actually, I'm going to need your assistance with that because I don't have a developer for
Okay.
that. and I would like to have that updated.
Okay. You should be able to find me in the group and just hit connect and we'll be there.
Okay,
And I'll give you a hand with that.
okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Anybody else having issues and need some help afterwards? Or any other questions on what we're doing? Everybody understand now how to get into analytics?
It's clear as mud.
Yeah. And Mitch, I think you have a better handle than a lot of people, and yet this is still muddy for you to figure out analytics.
I mean, my company is SEO Turbo Booster, so I better know some of this.
Oh, wow. Yes. If I were you, just take the day or however much of the day that you can and just go through each and every one of them. Because some of them you're going to go, yeah, I don't care about that. Maybe traffic acquisition. I don't, events. Do you have an event that you've done? Conversions. That's a big one. And you can, I would bet a lot of people it looks just like this. If you go to conversions and you see nothing, that's because you haven't set up your analytics to show you when somebody converts, and you're going to only show a conversion when something has happened, like they have added a product to their cart and made a purchase. That's a conversion. So they went from just being somebody who came to your site to somebody who made a purchase. That's a conversion. If you set up your site to have that information, then you will see it here. This particular user has not done that. Landing page, that's a good one too, because you'll see, okay, what pages are most people landing on? And this first one would be the home page and everything else down below. Apparently the second page is not set, whatever it was. But most of the people are going to the home page. Of course, this one, not spending any time on that one.
Just a quick
Anyway.
question, if you don't have a monetary site, how do you track what's a conversion then? If you're not actually,
If you're not selling anything or you're not converting them from just being traffic to the site, then there is nothing to convert.
okay.
I have a question.
Sure.
I do have something on my conversions tab. I don't sell anything, but I did run a couple of LinkedIn and Facebook ads.
Okay,
And it says ads _ and then the page they went to. So I'm assuming that's where that conversion is from.
yes,
Okay.
yes. Any conversion that has happened, if you sell something and they purchase something, then yeah, it's going to appear here if you set up that conversion.
Yeah, but I don't sell anything. So that's why I'm assuming it's coming from the ads that I purchased from LinkedIn.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Well, I don't sell products. I sell services.
Gotcha.
I guess I should
But
say.
you pay for the ads, right?
Right. I paid for the LinkedIn ad
Right,
and
right.
the Facebook ad.
So that's a good thing to track, right? How effective.
Exactly. But I ran
Working
2 ads and it's only showing me one, and it only says ads. So it doesn't tell me which ad
Gotcha.
it's showing me.
Teresa had a question. What about bounce? Google specifically, before they started using GA4, did away with the term bounce. Bounce is so that everybody understands, means that somebody has come to one of your pages and they left immediately. That's a bounce. Or they came to the page and they spent 5 seconds there or less and left. That's also considered a bounce. They've changed the terminology, and I'm trying to think of exactly what it is, but they're not calling it a bounce. They are definitely showing you time on the page. So that's what bounce is all about. And
Well,
you're trying to figure out how long was somebody on the
yeah, I'm
page.
gonna put the camera on there. This is so much more comfortable.
You want to know how long somebody was on the page so that you can see whether it was a bounce or not. Average engagement time is the time that you see here in seconds. if they have spent, I believe it's 10 seconds or more on the page, it's considered a viable reader. In other words, if they're under 10 seconds on the page, that's considered a bounce, but they don't use that term anymore. So you need to get people spending more than 10 seconds on the page. And you can see here, yes, they do, but that doesn't necessarily, it's not really great. So self-paced one is not sought after in this case. I'm not sure. Oh, the last one on here, yeah.
Yeah, I was
Self-paced.
just looking where the zeros are, but
Yep.
so, but the bounce and the conversions, they're kind of sort of tied together, aren't they? Like I'm with Ionos now. I have their own analytics there, but I haven't quite done Google yet, which I want to add. We can do both, right? I can do Google and the provider's analytics, or
You can have Google Analytics, you can have whatever analytics that you want.
okay, okay,
Excuse me, but Google Analytics is only found in the analytics here
right.
because it's part of Google. And anything else that you have would mean that you go to another company or you have a plugin or something in your site that you can get information from this other company.
Oh,
But
okay.
as far as the bounce and time, yeah, they're related only because of the fact that how much time on the page tells you whether it's a bounce or not.
Right. Okay. Thanks.
You're welcome. Any other questions before we go today? Covered a lot, and I really tried to keep you into the simple stuff. So if you need more information, then let me know, connect with me in the group, and we can go from there.
You the Tom Garrison in Washington?
Yes, I am in Washington.
You're the Washington, Tom Garrison. Is that you? Is that a picture of you
Where?
in the profile here?
In Alignable?
Yeah,
Yep, that's me holding a bottle of wine.
I think so.
Yep, that's my picture.
You need a lot of wine because
Yeah, I haven't had any for a long time. Christopher, you're welcome.
yeah, thank you very much, Tom. Great, very, very, very useful.
Very good. Just make sure that knowing what your business is now that you take, if you have to go hide in a room, just become familiar with the things. It's not that you need to know in depth everything that's there. It's just look at the overview of stuff.
Right.
And as you're looking at the overview, questions will come and you go, hey, I wonder if, and then you'll go through and see, oh yeah, there's that.
Yeah, I mean, we got.
What pages do they come in on?
I mean, we're pretty technical guys, developers, but so I'm doing the business and sales, but still it's you know, we're gonna.
Yeah, the more that you know about what it is that you're offering, the easier it is for you to sell it too. You can even look at the way that they do it and go, you know what, I like how they've arranged this and this and this. Okay, so people are going to connect. That's good. That should do it for today, folks. Thank you for coming.
Thanks again.
Thanks for all the good questions too. Guess I should stop sharing so I can get my screen. There we go. You're welcome, John. You're quiet today.
Just writing notes like crazy.
This definitely is a day for you to say, I need to learn that and find out exactly what your guys are doing in the background.
That's what I've been writing. I got 1.5 pages of notes, so.
And the landing pages are going to be especially good for you because you're going to see, oh, well, I see they're going to this one page and they don't spend very much time on it. How come, you guys? What did you do?
Exactly. Gotta go.
I would recommend that you have the boss in the room when you start that conversation.
Yep,
So they don't blow you off and go, well, we're doing fine.
and there's
Or
the old
they-
man asking more questions he shouldn't be asking.
Yeah.
Or they throw a lot of technical babble at you that makes no sense, you know. Just to kind of throw you a curveball.
Yeah, the developers always want to throw the technical jargon at you to try to confuse you because they don't want to answer your question.
Exactly.
And that's something that you're gonna find, I think if you go back through all the videos of me, you're gonna go, hey, he doesn't use all that jargon. That's because I want you to understand. I could do just like all the other developers and give you, oh, you just go here to get cPanel and you go your Google Analytics, that'll tell you everything, and then just move on by and you haven't learned a thing. But that's the way they like it to be.
So who do you sell to, or how do you do the SEO campaign for someone, or what is your business there?
I develop websites and do the SEO, both
Okay,
WordPress and Joomla.
you're certainly a very good Samaritan here. I hope. I'm assuming you make a living somehow, right?
Yes, developing websites and applying SEO, sure. There are a lot of people that have come through the group, so yes, they've said, I can't stand my developer. I'm
Right.
working on a huge project now for a big e-commerce site. That because of what I suggested to them, they moved from big commerce, where they were paying $500 a month for a template. They didn't have any products in the site. Paying $500 a month to host that site that had no products in it. And it cost them, you want to take a guess at what it cost them to build that template?
15 grand,
How much?
15,
Well, 10,
10.
yeah. That was just, really? It doesn't even do anything. All you did was make an almost pretty site that does nothing. And you charged them 10 grand for that. So I came along and I actually got products in the site. The investors and the owner of the site are extremely happy. And there's keep asking, where has this guy been? How did he figure out how to make it that simple to do the make, model, and year to get our information?
How
So
long have you been doing this?
I started developing websites in 1996. Started the business in 2000.
Your background, computers, engineering, or
Well, I started using a Mac in '87.
gender studies? I mean, what is it?
And then I bought my first PC in '93. And I have built all my PCs since then.
What, the hardware?
Yeah. Well, you buy the hardware, but it's like I started working for a computer company in 98, 97. And I realized how simple computers were. And I went, anybody can do this.
Right.
So I do. You know, I've got this screaming fast computer sitting next to me that you can't even hear at all. Never hear the fans, as hot as it gets. Of course, it's radiator cooled.
I'll ping you. Maybe we can just mess
Okay.
with
That sounds good.